Sparks fly as the blacksmith works in silence, until a voice crawls into his head, mocking, curious. It asks if he really thinks this plan will succeed, if this so-called revenge is something he's truly prepared to carry out. Without stopping his hammer, the blacksmith snaps back, telling the voice to disappear if it has nothing meaningful to say. The voice doesn't leave. Instead, it digs deeper, suggesting this isn't resolve, but guilt. It sneers at the idea of vengeance after all these years. Each strike of the hammer drags memories to the surface, soul hanging from a tree, his home reduced to ashes, his father's corpse on the ground. Rage floods in, raw and uncontrollable. The voice twists the knife. You, the man who forged weapons of slaughter, wants revenge now. It laughs at the hypocrisy. The accusation lingers in the air, heavy and unavoidable. The blacksmith finally answers, calm, absolute. It doesn't matter. His mind is already made up. He carries a box, drowning out the noise in his head. Titles echo in his thoughts. The blacksmith of the blood cult. For 15 years, he lived as the demon smith. No excuse can erase what he's done. This tragedy was born from his own hands. Standing before the Moram Alliance's castle, he clenches his fists. With these hands, he'll end it. Shouts erupt inside the castle. The demon smith has arrived. Fanatics chant praise, glorifying demons, celebrating conquest, hailing the heavenly demon and the blood cult's dominance over Muram. The blood demon appears. His presence warped, overwhelming, unmistakably insane. An announcer proclaims the occasion. To commemorate this historic day, the demon smith has prepared the 11th divine weapon. The protagonist walks forward, detached. Whether this is atonement or not no longer matters. He kneels and raises the box. The box opens. A strange pressure crashes over everyone present. Something is theirs, undeniably so. Yet the announcer sees nothing. Empty. Inside the box, a small dagger floats, completely invisible to all but its creator. In the blacksmith's mind, the thought is clear and final. Today, everything ends. The invisible weapon launches. The announcer screams mid-insult, then freezes. A hole appears in his torso. Too late to understand what happened. The blacksmith doesn't slow down. He redirects the weapon straight toward the blood demon. A violent explosion shakes the hall. Smoke clears. The blood demon still stands, having blocked the attack with his finger. The blacksmith's eyes widen. He survived that? No hesitation. Not yet. He shifts stance and unleashes his martial arts. He'll use the martial arts the blood demon himself taught him, even if it costs his life and burns away his primordial ki. The blade tears through the blood demon's arm and surges forward, aiming straight for his eye. The blacksmith roars, pouring everything he has into the incorporeal blade, swearing to rip the blood demon's throat out. Yet the blood demon doesn't even stand. Seated calmly, he holds the attack back with an unseen, oppressive force. The protagonist staggers, vomiting blood. His vision blurs, but relief floods in. Finally, I did it. Then laughter echoes. The blood demon sounds amused, intrigued. A dagger with no form, no detectable ki, how entertaining. The blood demon rises, his face half burned, yet healing before their eyes. He grips the invisible weapon effortlessly, praising it as a true divine artifact, the incorporeal dagger. Shock crashes into the blacksmith. You knew about it? How are you still alive? In a blink, the blood demon is on him, fingers crushing his throat. He calls him what he's always been, his loyal old servant, and reminds him that lineage means nothing. Even a descendant of the Sichuan Dang clan can't escape the truth. Revenge is meaningless. The blacksmith snarls back, demanding he shut his filthy mouth. The blood demon sighs, almost regretful. If the blacksmith had even a shred of primordial ki left, he might have spared him. The blacksmith spits defiance anyway, vowing to curse him for eternity. Amused, the blood demon promises one final gift. Strange words spill from his lips, ancient, incomprehensible. The blacksmith's thoughts scream in warning. What are you? The blood demon hurls him skyward like discarded scrap. Without hesitation, he channels power into the incorporeal dagger and launches it straight at the blacksmith's head. No ceremony, just an end. As he falls, memories unravel. Where did it all go wrong? Born weak, blessed with godlike craftsmanship, yet never free, never living a single day for himself. If only he had known the future, if only he had chosen differently. The narration seals his fate. The day the demonic heavens rose, the life of the most sinister godly craftsman comes to an end. Then, his eyes snap open. Someone is shouting at him, furious. Noise, pain, sensation, all too real. He's certain he stopped breathing, but his senses are sharp, overwhelming. Where's the blood demon? A familiar voice scolds him, grabbing his arm, calling him young Master Danga, and demanding he pull himself together. Another voice sneers and raises a hand. A slap lands hard across his face. Names flash through his mind. Ju Nam Pyong, Monguk, Li Ho Sung. Heart pounding, he turns around. Soul is there, crying, alive. The image of her hanging from a tree collides with reality. Understanding hits like lightning. This is 16 years ago, the banquet celebrating Li Ho Song's induction into the Murim Alliance. He remembers it clearly now. This was the day Seol Ah was assaulted. The day he failed to protect her. Dream or not, it doesn't matter. He shrugs off his coat and gently places it around her shoulders, apologizing. Inside, his resolve hardens. This time, without hesitation, I'll change everything here. When Li Ho Song raises his hand again, Deng stops him cold. He gives him one chance to apologize sincerely if he's even human. The man explodes in outrage, blaming Seol, threatening death. Deng's voice stays calm, razor sharp. He praises his sister's wisdom for rejecting trash like him instantly. Then he twists the knife further, insulting him without mercy. Li Ho Song snaps, screaming for him to shut up. Deng doesn't stop. He calmly adds that Li Ho Song even smells terrible and wonders how anyone could ever like him. Li Ho Song snaps, drawing his sword and aiming straight for Deng's face. Deng keeps talking, almost bored, pointing out that Junam's personality is even uglier than his looks. That's the last straw. Junam charges, promising to shut Deng up for good. Deng sidesteps the blade effortlessly. Li Ho Song freezes. He dodged? Deng notes it coldly. Surprise attacks are forbidden in the Orthodox faction. Before, he couldn't even fight back. Now, everything feels different. Deng hops back and scoffs, genuinely puzzled. Was he really struggling against someone this weak in his previous life? Junam lunges again, furious, shouting that there won't be a second stroke of luck. This time, Deng blocks the sword head-on. Junam's eyes widen in shock. Deng tilts his head, mocking. Is something not going according to plan? Panic sets in. Li Ho Song can't understand it. His sword was blocked. That should be impossible. Deng traps the blade cleanly between his twin daggers, twists it aside, and kicks Junam hard enough to send him flying. Junam barely manages to cling to the ground, scrambling to recover. As Li Ho Song lifts his head, fear finally sinks in. Deng stands before him with glowing red eyes. In a blink, Deng vanishes, then reappears right in front of him. A precise slash flashes, single point. Li Ho Song screams as blood sprays. The world seems to turn red as Deng stands behind him, Junam collapsing to his knees. Deng speaks calmly, almost kindly. It's far too early to be struggling like this. After all, they're just getting started. Junam stammers in disbelief. How can a half-wit from the fallen Sichuan Dang clan do this? He can't even use his dantian. What kind of sorcery is this? Li Ho Song swears he won't let this go unpunished. Deng agrees. He's right. Li Ho Song panics, begging him not to come any closer. Deng answers honestly he was never a hero or a great man to begin with, so let's finish catching up. He tells him to look forward to it. Deng steps forward, eyes unwavering. Next is his heart. Shock spreads across Li Ho Song's subordinates. Their minds refuse to accept what their eyes are seeing. What is this? Li Ho Song, lost? Murmurs ripple through the crowd. The youngest disciple of the alliance leader, defeated by a half-wit from the fallen Sichuan Dang clan. No one imagined this ending. One subordinate nervously steps forward, begging Deng to stop while he still can. Deng answers with a single cold glance. They immediately retreat, fear overriding pride. As they leave, the truth becomes visible. Deng's ki core is unstable, blood trickling from his mouth. Deng steadies himself, forcing the pain down. Endure it. I can't let my demonic chi show here. He calls Li Ho Song's name. Li Ho Song screams and tries to crawl away, panic breaking his composure. Deng's voice stays firm. He never cared about being looked down on. But even as a human being, Li Ho Song should have had basic dignity. Li Ho Song shouts nonsense, ordering Deng to stay away. Chi erupts from Deng's body as he raises his hand to strike. He says it plainly. Li Ho Song is a bastard who deserves to die. Li Ho Song's scream tears through the courtyard. A sudden attack. Deng senses it instantly and blocks. Who? Voices shout for him to stop. The hidden Dragon Guard, the direct escort unit assigned to the Alliance leader's disciples, has finally stepped in. Deng recognizes them at once. Captain Song Wukong. Understanding clicks into place. So they were already colluding back then. These men, along with Li Ho Song, will one day be remembered as the worst traitors in Murim Alliance history. The Sichuan blood massacre. Their betrayal will erase 30% of the Alliance's total strength in a single stroke. Deng's resolve sharpens. No matter what, he has to execute them here and now. He calmly asks what they'll do if he refuses to stop. Deng challenges them directly. Li Ho Song isn't even an official disciple yet. By what right does the hidden dragon guard interfere? The escorts hesitate. He's right. Li Ho Song is still on probation. But another question terrifies them more. How does he know that? Dang presses on. They stood by while an innocent woman was harassed, yet now, when punishment is due, they claim they can't simply watch. The escorts bristle, snapping back that punishment isn't for someone like him to decide. Alliance personnel are governed only by Alliance law. Dang smiles. So this is the standard of the orthodox path. How very impartial of them. One of the direct escorts snaps, sword flashing from its sheath. He bellows that Dang has insulted the Great Murim Alliance and issues a final warning. Kneel and apologize, or face the consequences. Dang calmly shifts into a fighting stance. For a guard captain, he says, the man sure talks a lot. Did he argue his way into that position? Fury explodes. The order is given. Take him down. As three figures rush him at once, Dang quickly assesses the situation. Sun Wukong is likely at the peak stage, and he's backed by three first-class warriors. Steel flashes. Dang deflects one blade, counters with a kick, senses danger from behind, twists away, only for two more to close in. He dodges one, strikes the other. The exchange is relentless. Dang breaks into motion, thoughts sharp despite the chaos. Because of the after effects of single-point kill, he has barely 2 years' worth of internal energy left. This can't drag on. An escort charges. Dang leaps, then slams a precise strike into the back of the man's neck, dropping him instantly. Dang hurls his dagger. It hits, ricochets, and in the same breath he launches himself forward, catching the weapon mid-air and attacking again. Terror floods one escort's mind. He's a monster. Before Dang can finish it, a brutal kick slams into him. He crashes into the wall. The guard captain stands over him, sneering. A nobody like him has no right to run wild. A pathetic third-rate loser. This is where he belongs. The captain keeps lecturing, mocking the price of stepping out of line. Dang cuts him off, unimpressed. Too much talking, he can't even catch his breath. Inside, he accepts the truth. For who he is right now, there's only one option left. No choice but to force his upper dantian open. Blue lightning erupts from Dang's head, crackling with unstable power. The captain shouts in alarm, calling it a pointless trick. Dang smirks. If this is how Alliance fighters battle by talking, then enough already. He tells him to stop the bullshit and come at him. The guard captain sneers. If Dang is so eager to die, then he'll gladly grant that wish. He charges, chi roaring as he swings in to finish it. Power surges through Dang. Then something impossible happens. A purple dagger materializes above him. Dang's thoughts stall. The incorporeal dagger. Why is it here? Why now? Realization flickers. Did it enter his upper dantian back then? Even if it did, how did it come out like this? The guard captain roars that it's over, blade descending. Dang's hesitation vanishes. The reason doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that the dagger is in his grasp. He pours everything he has into it, resolve sharpening to a single point. He'll end this in one strike. The world freezes. Golden energy hangs in the air between them. The guard captain's mind panics. His body won't move. From the void, an old man steps forward, placing a steady hand on Dang's shoulder. His voice is calm, absolute. A child must not use that kind of power recklessly. Dang's breath catches. This man. The escorts drop to their knees in unison. They bow and shout their greeting. Before Dang stands the strongest man of the current Orthodox Murim, the master of the Murim Alliance, the Sword Emperor himself, Yujin Hak. Dang lowers his head before the Sword Emperor. For a brief moment, his thoughts slip into history, back to the war with the Blood Cult, when defeat loomed and most of Murim bent the knee. All except one man. The alliance leader of the Wudang sect stood apart, raising his sword again and again, until the day he was struck down by a divine artifact Dang himself had forged. Dang tightens his grip on his dagger and snaps back to the present. This isn't the time for sentiment. At least the Sword Emperor hasn't sensed the formless dagger. Even the Blood Demon didn't, so that much is expected. The real question is darker. If the Sword Emperor turns hostile, could he counter him? The Sword Emperor speaks quietly, troubled. He can't see anything at all, something that has never happened to him before. Yet instead of anger, curiosity surfaces. That child has an amusing talent. Before Dang can react, a calm voice echoes behind him. An old woman appears, gently tapping Seal's acupressure points and telling her to rest. Dang stiffens. He hadn't sensed her presence at all. She immediately scolds the Sword Emperor for recklessly disappearing on his own. He apologizes, explaining that his innate true chi had surged out of control. The old woman's name lands like a thunderclap in Dang's mind. Boyan. Not just anyone. Shinny Boyan, former sect leader of the Ami sect. the subduing tiger divine physician. Deng exhales internally. This situation just became infinitely worse. First, the alliance leader, now the divine physician. In a flashback, Shinny Boyan lectures the Sword Emperor yet again. Those people within the alliance will never change. The narration weighs heavy. Too many had forgotten chivalry and betrayed righteousness. The Sword Emperor became alliance leader to correct that rot, yet even now, nothing has changed. Shinny Boyan mocks him affectionately, calling him a foolish old horse, telling him not to shoulder everything alone. If it becomes too much, she says, step back, live leisurely, drink rice wine. The Sword Emperor laughs, then suddenly senses something and vanishes. Back in the present, Shinny Boyan scolds him again, noting the severity of Li Hosong's wounds. Even a great immortal couldn't fix this. Panic creeps into the guard captain's thoughts. This situation is spiraling out of control. Shinny Boyan examines Deng next, and her tone sharpens. These scars are far too violent. Did he use forbidden arts? The moment those words leave her mouth, the Sword Emperor releases an overwhelming ki pressure. Everyone except Shinny Boyan is forced to their knees, including Deng. The guard captain seizes the chance, loudly accusing Deng of using forbidden arts to defeat a first-rate warrior, despite being third-rate himself. He insists he had no choice but to intervene, as one who walks the righteous path. The Sword Emperor acknowledges the claim calmly and turns to Deng, asking for an explanation. Deng forces himself upright. There's nothing special to explain. What he used was Tang clan martial arts. Though the clan has declined, Tang blood still runs through his veins. For those who laid hands on his family, this wasn't even enough. That explanation is sufficient. Deng tightens his grip on his dagger, eyes burning with resolve. From this moment on, even if they try to stop him, he will show no restraint. Golden light ignites in the Sword Emperor's eyes as his chi pressure swells. He asks calmly, but the weight behind it is crushing. Would Deng really throw his life away over a moment's emotion? Deng recognizes it instantly. Golden true eye. The Sword Emperor presses him for an answer. Is fleeting revenge truly worth more than his life? Deng doesn't hesitate. This isn't fleeting revenge. Deng's thoughts steady as he speaks. In this life, he isn't chasing hatred. He's trying to correct a broken world piece by piece, even if it means burning his own life to do it. Inside, his resolve sharpens further. I will walk the same path as you. The Sword Emperor falls silent, shaken. That path, the one so harsh it once shook even him. Shinny Boyan's words echo in his mind. Correcting the world was never meant to be easy. He looks at Deng anew. Is that truly the path this child wishes to take? Without warning, the Sword Emperor moves. His sword cuts through the air, leaving behind countless afterimages, phantom lines folding into one another. When the blade taps the ground, a symbol of balance forms, yin and yang, perfectly harmonized. Deng freezes, overwhelmed. Countless Tagged principles contained within a single line. They say enlightenment can be reached through insight alone, and beyond that, it's beautiful. The Sword Emperor charges. Deng doesn't move, his mind is elsewhere, drinking in every motion. It's so beautiful that, for a moment, Deng thinks he wouldn't mind perishing to a sword like this. This is the sword of Wudong. True strength hidden within softness. Then, the Sword Emperor stops. His voice cracks through the air like thunder. Get up. He turns his gaze away from Deng and calls another name. Li Hosong flinches, scrambling to respond. Master. Relief and fear mix in his voice as he bows deeply. The Sword Emperor has arrived. Shinny Boyan mutters, half annoyed, that while it's her duty as a physician, she's gone through needless trouble. Li Hosong internally groans. To start this crap on someone just back from the dead? The Sword Emperor's gaze cuts sharp. He reminds them that the other party wagered his life to prove his chivalry. What is theirs worth in comparison? Li Hosong stammers, then shouts he'll wager his life too, blaming a certain woman for dragging him into it. The Sword Emperor silences him immediately. His patience gone, he turns to Deng, apologizing and taking full responsibility for the junior's actions. Deng nods, calm and resolute. Thank you. Behind them, Li Hosong panics. Master. The Sword Emperor turns to him, sighing, noting he's never had a disciple like him. The child's disposition is left in Deng's hands. Meanwhile, Deng floods the room with his presence, one eye glowing red. Li Hosong tries to stand, sword in hand, warning Deng not to come closer. Deng's reply is chilling. Death itself would be a luxury for you. Deng strikes, bare hand colliding with Li Hosong, shattering his inner core and sending him crashing against the wall. His fist glows with blue energy as he declares, "You must live on in pain worse than death." From afar, the Sword Emperor watches, asking if he might entrust judgment over these people to Deng. Dang thinks briefly. If it's the Sword Emperor, he'll ensure the culprits pay a fitting price. The true culprit has already been punished. It's time to step back. Dang responds, acknowledging the Sword Emperor's preservation of his dignity, and quietly thanks him. Dang walks over to Seol, holding her gently in his arms. The Sword Emperor remarks that once the chaos is settled, he intends to visit Dang's clan. Dang's calm reply, enough time at least, for a cup of tea. In that moment, amidst destruction and vengeance, a rare quiet promise of normalcy lingers.